Madame Adku Okoro stepped out of her luxurious bedroom, her slender figure swaying gracefully in her designer gown. She glanced around her opulent mansion, her eyes lingering on the lavish furnishings and exquisite artwork adorning the walls. Her husband, Chief Okoro, stood by the window, sipping his cognac as he gazed out at the breathtaking view of the city skyline. "Good evening, darling," Madame Okoro said, her voice husky and confident. "Are you ready for tonight's party?" Chief Okoro turned to her, his eyes gleaming with admiration. "You look stunning, my dear. I'm always ready to show you off to the world." Madame Okoro smiled, her diamond necklace glinting in the light. "Then let's make it a night to remember." As they descended into the grand ballroom, the guests erupted into applause. Madame Okoro's eyes sparkled with pride as she took her place beside her husband, the perfect hostess. But beneath the facade of elegance and poise, a secret pain lurked, a longing she dared not reveal. Madame Okoro's smile never wavered as she mingled with their guests, but her mind wandered to the one thing she desired most, a child. Months of trying had yielded nothing but disappointment and heartache. The doctor's words echoed in her mind, "Sorry, Madame Okoro, but your chances of conception are slim." She pushed the thoughts aside, focusing on the laughter and music filling the room. But the ache persisted, a constant reminder of her failure. Her husband's infidelity didn't help, his numerous affairs a bitter pill to swallow. As the night wore on, Madame Okoro excused herself, seeking solace in her garden. The cool night air soothed her frazzled nerves, but the silence was deafening. She felt like a prisoner in her own home, trapped in a life that wasn't hers. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, Elise, their maid. "Madam, I saw you slip out and thought you might need some company." Madame Okoro hesitated, then nodded. "Stay, Elise. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in this perfect facade." Elise's eyes filled with understanding. "I know, madam. Sometimes I feel like I'm living a life that isn't mine either." In that moment, Madame Okoro found an unlikely confidant in Elise, a bond forming between them that would change their lives forever. Elise had always been more than just a maid to the Okoros. She was a confidant, a friend, and a keeper of secrets. But little did they know, Elise had secrets of her own. As she worked in the garden, her mind wandered to her own life, one she kept hidden from the Okoros. She was a single mother, struggling to make ends meet, and her job as a maid was her only lifeline. But she had big dreams, dreams of a better life for her and her child. Elise's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps. It was Chief Okoro, his eyes fixed on her with a look she knew all too well. She felt a shiver run down her spine as he approached her. "Elise, my dear, you are as beautiful as the flowers in this garden," he said, his voice low and husky. Elise knew what was coming next. She had seen it before, the way he looked at her, the way he made her feel. She was torn between her loyalty to Madame Okoro and her own desires. "Chief, please," she whispered, trying to push him away. But he was too strong, too persuasive. He pulled her close, his lips brushing against hers. Elise felt a spark ignite within her, a flame she couldn't extinguish. In that moment, she knew she was trapped in a web of secrets and lies, a web that would soon ensnare them all. Madame Okoro couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that had been growing inside her. She had always suspected her husband's infidelity, but now she had proof. The way he looked at Elise, the way he touched her, it was all too familiar. She felt a pang of anger and betrayal, but also a deep sadness. She had tried to convince herself that their marriage was perfect, but the truth was far from it. As she watched her husband and Elise together, she realized that she had been living a lie. Her perfect facade was crumbling, and she was left with the shards of her shattered dreams. She knew she had to confront her husband, but she was scared. Scared of the truth, scared of losing the life she had built, scared of being alone. But she couldn't keep quiet anymore. She had to speak out, had to reclaim her dignity and her life. With a newfound strength, she approached her husband and Elise, her voice clear and steady. "I know what's going on," she said, her eyes fixed on her husband. "I won't tolerate it anymore." The room fell silent, the only sound the heavy breathing of the three of them. The perfect facade had finally cracked, and the truth was spilling out. The party went on, but the atmosphere was strained. Madame Okoro's confrontation with her husband and Elise had left everyone uncomfortable. Chief Okoro tried to salvage the situation, but his efforts only made things worse. Madame Okoro excused herself, unable to bear the pretense any longer. She retreated to her room, her mind racing with thoughts of her future. She knew she had to leave her husband, but fear held her back. Elise found her there, tears streaming down her face. "Madam, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you." Chief Okoro sat his wife down, his eyes filled with a convincing sincerity. "Adku, my dear, I know this may seem wrong, but trust me, I'm doing it for us. For our future." He took her hands in his grip warm and reassuring. "We've been trying for a child for so long, but it seems like fate is against us. But I've found a way to ensure our legacy continues." Madame Okoro looked at him skeptically, but he pressed on. "Elise is young and fertile, and she's willing to bear us a child. Think about it, Adku, a child to carry on our name, to inherit our wealth and status." He leaned in closer, his voice taking on a persuasive tone. "I know it may seem unconventional, but trust me, it's for the greater good. Our good. And I promise you, Adku, I will love and cherish this child as my own." Madame Okoro looked at him, searching for any sign of deceit or manipulation. But Chief Okoro's eyes were clear, his conviction genuine. And slowly but surely, she began to see things from his perspective. Maybe, just maybe, this was the solution they had been searching for. Maybe this was the way to secure their future, to ensure their legacy continued. And with that thought, Madame Okoro nodded, her resistance slowly fading away. Chief Okoro's plan had convinced her, and she was willing to give it a chance. For the sake of their future, for the sake of their love. Madame Okoro couldn't shake off the feeling of unease as her husband continued to convince her. "Think about it, Adku," he said, his voice low and persuasive. "An heir to our empire, a child to carry on our legacy. It's the perfect solution." Madame Okoro looked at him, her eyes searching for any sign of deceit. But Chief Okoro's gaze was steady, his eyes filled with a convincing sincerity. "And what about Elise?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What role will she play in this grand plan of yours?" Chief Okoro's smile was reassuring. "Elise will be well taken care of, my dear. She'll be compensated handsomely for her services. And who knows, maybe she'll even find a place in our family's heart." Madame Okoro raised an eyebrow, her skepticism evident. But Chief Okoro's words had planted a seed in her mind, a seed that was slowly germinating into a possibility. Could this be the solution to their problems? Could Elise really be the answer to their prayers? As she looked at her husband, Madame Okoro felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was the way forward. Maybe this was the way to secure their future, to ensure their legacy continued. And with that thought, she nodded, her resistance slowly fading away. Chief Okoro's plan had convinced her, and she was willing to give it a chance. For the sake of their future, for the sake of their love. Chief Okoro's eyes gleamed with excitement as he continued to persuade his wife. "Adku, my dear, I want you to see something. Elise has a certain talent, a certain flair in the bedroom. And I think you could learn from her. Madame Okoro's eyebrows shot up in surprise. What are you talking about, Chief? He leaned in closer, his voice taking on a conspiratorial tone. I'm talking about bedroom styles, Adku. Elise has a way of pleasing me, of making me feel like a king. And I think you could learn from her, adapt some of her techniques to our own. Intimate moments. Madame Okoro's face flushed with embarrassment, but Chief Okoro's enthusiasm was infectious. She found herself curious, wondering what Elise could possibly teach her. Come on, Adku, Chief Okoro coaxed. Just watch, just see what Elise can do. I promise you, it will be enlightening. And with that, he led his wife to the room where Elise was waiting, her eyes demurely cast down. Madame Okoro felt a pang of trepidation, but Chief Okoro's excitement was too much to resist. As they watched, Elise began to demonstrate her skills, her movements graceful and seductive. Madame Okoro's eyes widened in surprise, her mind racing with the possibilities. Maybe, just maybe, this was what their marriage needed, a spark of excitement, a new way of connecting. And as she looked at Chief Okoro, she saw the enthusiasm in his eyes, the hope for a renewed passion in their relationship. And with that, she nodded, her resistance fading away. She was willing to learn, to adapt, to please her husband in ways she never thought possible. The bedroom styles that Elise had mastered would soon become hers to command, and their marriage would never be the same again. Madame Okoro's eyes were fixed on Elise, her mind absorbing every movement, every gesture. She felt a strange sense of detachment, as if she was observing herself from outside her body. Chief Okoro's voice was low and husky, his words urging her on. See, Adku, see how Elise moves? Like a cat, like a seductress. You can do that too, my dear. You can be that seductress. Madame Okoro's cheeks flushed with embarrassment, but she couldn't tear her eyes away from Elise. The maid's movements were hypnotic, drawing her in with a strange power. And then, without thinking, Madame Okoro found herself imitating Elise's movements. Her hips swayed, her arms undulated, and her eyes locked on Chief Okoro's with a newfound seductiveness. Chief Okoro's eyes widened in surprise, his face lighting up with excitement. Adku, my dear, you're a natural. Elise smiled, her eyes shining with approval. Yes, madam, you have the talent. You just need to practice, to embrace your inner seductress. Madame Okoro felt a strange sense of liberation, as if she had unlocked a hidden part of herself. She continued to move, her body swaying to a rhythm she never knew existed. And Chief Okoro watched, his eyes glued to her, his face filled with admiration. You're beautiful, Adku. You're a true seductress. The room was silent, the only sound the soft music and Madame Okoro's gentle humming. It was a moment of pure intimacy, a moment that would change their marriage forever. Madame Okoro sat in the shadows, her eyes fixed on the bed where her husband and Elise lay entwined. She had grown accustomed to this nightly ritual, watching them make love with a detachment that bordered on numbness. At first, it had been a curiosity, a strange fascination with the way their bodies moved together. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the pain began to seep in. It started as a dull ache, a sense of longing that she couldn't quite define. But as the nights went on, the ache grew sharper, more insistent. She felt like she was losing herself, like she was disappearing into the shadows. She tried to justify it, to tell herself that this was what she wanted, what she had agreed to. But the truth was, she was hurting. She was hurting every time she saw her husband's hands on Elise's skin, every time she heard their moans of pleasure. And yet, she couldn't bring herself to stop it. She was trapped in this cycle of pain and desire, unable to escape. As the nights went on, Madame Okoro's detachment began to crack. She felt herself becoming more and more withdrawn, more and more isolated. She stopped participating in the household, stopped talking to her husband, stopped living. She was a shadow of her former self, a mere specter of the woman she once was. And all the while, she sat in the shadows, watching, waiting, hurting. The day finally came when Elise burst into the room, a radiant smile on her face. Chief. I have news, she exclaimed. Chief Okoro's eyes lit up with excitement. What is it, Elise? Tell me. Elise's smile grew wider. I'm pregnant, Chief. I'm going to have your child. Chief Okoro leapt from his seat, his face beaming with joy. Oh, Elise. My dear Elise. This is the best news I've ever heard. He swept her into his arms, twirling her around the room as they both laughed and cried tears of joy. Madame Okoro, however, felt like she had been punched in the gut. She had been dreading this moment, fearing it with every fiber of her being. And now that it had finally arrived, she felt like she was shattered into a million pieces. She couldn't bear to look at Elise, couldn't bear to see the triumph in her eyes. She couldn't bear to look at her husband, couldn't bear to see the joy that he felt at another woman's expense. She felt like she was losing everything, like her world was crumbling around her. She felt like she was disappearing, like she was no longer relevant. As Chief Okoro and Elise celebrated, Madame Okoro slipped away, unnoticed and unremarked. She retreated to her room, where she collapsed on the bed, her body racked with sobs. She felt like she was dying, like her heart was breaking into a million pieces. She felt like she would never be whole again, like she would never be happy again. And in that moment, she knew that she had lost everything that truly mattered to her. She had lost her husband, her marriage, and her sense of self. She was left with nothing but the shattered remains of her once beautiful life. Chief Okoro's face was filled with concern as he approached his wife. Adku, my dear, I know this is hard for you, but I need you to understand something. Elise is carrying our child now, and she needs our care and support. Madame Okoro's eyes were empty, her voice barely above a whisper. What do you want me to do, Chief? I want you to take care of her, Adku. I want you to help her with everything she needs. She is carrying our legacy, our future. We must ensure her health and happiness. Madame Okoro's gaze dropped, her shoulders slumping in defeat. And what about me, Chief? What about my happiness? Chief Okoro's expression softened. You are my wife, Adku. My love for you will never change. But this child is our future. And Elise needs our help to bring it into the world. He took her hand, his eyes pleading. Just help her, Adku. Help her, and help our child. Please. Madame Okoro's resistance crumbled, her heart heavy with resignation. Okay, Chief. I'll do it. Chief Okoro's face lit up with relief and gratitude. Thank you, Adku. Thank you. I promise you, this will not change our love for each other. But we must do this for our child. And so, Madame Okoro began to care for Elise, helping her with every task, every need. She even offered her arm to support Elise as they walked in the garden, getting fresh air and exercise for the sake of the unborn child. It was a difficult journey, but Madame Okoro did it all for the sake of her husband and her marriage. She put aside her own pain and heartache, her own feelings of betrayal and hurt. And she did it all with a heavy heart, a heart that was slowly losing its will to love. Madame Okoro's eyes welled up with tears as she packed her bags, her heart heavy with sorrow. She had tried to keep her dignity, to keep her marriage intact, but she couldn't take it anymore. She felt like her husband was using her, like he was only doing this for his own pleasure, without regard for her feelings or well-being. And so, with a heavy heart, she made the difficult decision to leave. But before she went, she wanted to make sure that her story was told, that people knew what she had gone through. She didn't want anyone else to suffer the same fate, to be treated like she had been treated. So, she took to social media, sharing her story with the world. She told of how her husband had brought a maid into their home, how he had convinced her to take care of the maid, how he had prioritized his own pleasure over her feelings. She shared her story with her friends, with her family, with anyone who would listen. And as she did, she felt a sense of liberation, a sense of freedom. She was finally standing up for herself, finally taking control of her own life. I will not be silenced, she wrote on social media. I will not be treated like a doormat. I am a woman, and I deserve respect. Her post went viral, with thousands of people sharing and commenting. And as they did, Madame Okoro felt a sense of vindication, a sense of justice. She had finally spoken out, finally stood up for herself. And she knew that she would never go back